and then we'll go from there. All right, it's right at 12:30, and so I expect everybody to join now. We'll just play this because it's awesome. So what I wanted to do is kind of welcome everybody. You've made it through another campaign session, and each campaign session kind of builds on one another. Either, initially it was all word of mouth, and then the second one was about kind of figuring out who didn't get to join in the first one, and the third one was very much centered around kind of targeted opportunities and clear learning objectives. And we've kind of refined the learning strategy a little bit and the enablement strategy. And at the same time, the Air Force has kind of made huge strides in being able to kind of make it so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? A lot of these processes are kind of similar across the spectrum. So you've seen them listed on the website. Some of them are kind of very similar to one another. And so the Air Force is working hard to share that code, to be able to give people a further out starting point, so you don't have to start from zero. Again, the opportunity is all about upskilling and figuring out what mundane and repetitive processes should be profiled, so you shouldn't have to do them anymore. For this award show, we're going to open it up with the famous Melinda Moynihan, who is the rock star working for the Vice Chief of Staff, continue to drive through from a strategy perspective and really try to make sure that we stay on task and meeting the intent of giving airmen their time back. She'll start us with opening remarks. We'll do a quick campaign recap, like, hey, what happened, where did it come from? Then we'll do some awards rundowns. We'll have the runners up, and then we'll each one of the categories. Then we'll go into what now? What do you do now? And then, hey, going into Wingman Challenge 4, because can't just do a trilogy. You have to keep on going, keep on going. Okay, Melinda, without any further ado, I'd like to kick it over to you for your opening remarks, ma'am.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Thank you. I'm joining you guys today from Boston. I just joined the Strategic Studies Group team and already have a TDY, so very exciting stuff. But what I attribute all this to, right, is where my journey started with RPA a year and a half ago, with Sherrod Overbay, Carlos Colon, Dan Wright, and Bill, of course, where the first RPA bot for the Air Force was born at AFPC. And since then, to be part of now 3 Digital Wingman Challenges is amazing to see all of you and your leadership support, seeing how innovative you are and how you can look at a process, you understand your process to the extent that you can automate it. You would be so surprised at the higher levels when folks try to automate things and they don't even know what the process looks like. So that's a huge testament to where you all are starting. And I was looking at the numbers for this Digital Wingman Challenge in particular. I think it started like 300 and something, dwindled down to like 50, and then 10 solid submissions. So again, just kudos to you for sticking it through. I know firsthand how much training, a lot of YouTube watching, and then relying on folks like Bill and his network and Carlos and Mr. Greens of the world to help support you through this journey. So just congratulations on sticking through it. We know times are interesting with the work-life balance and, are we still in COVID ops? Are we not? What does that look like? So we appreciate all of you being part of this, and please continue to share your story and share your journey and your automations. And if you need help getting it through that messy middle of the finish line, you have my name, you have Bill, Carlos, we're here to help you and see how we can scale some of these projects. We believe in it. Obviously, that's why we keep doing it. We have a 4th one coming up in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to seeing you continue your journey there and continuing to not only build an automation, but bring some more folks along with you to continue growing and then growing your tribe of digital wingmen for the Air Force, right? Because that's the ultimate goal, is to have this literacy level within the digital domain to where we can continue to innovate and improve processes as they are today while we wait for this, earth-shattering transformation. There's so much room for automation in the meantime. So again, thank you all for being part of this. Looking forward to seeing some similar faces in the next round. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything. So over to you, Bill.
Thank you, Major Moynihan. Please enjoy Boston. They have great cannolis, and they're going to stomp the Blue Jays tonight. So just so you know.
I might go to a game. There's a game tomorrow, I guess. So
yeah, against the Yankees. So that's a good one to go to, I guess. All right, guys. Hey, I just want to make sure you knew this is, this is an iterative journey and we're learning together. Part of it is how do we deliver new tech into the Air Force that is meaningful, that is not just about, showcasing that technology works, because that's semi-useful. What is useful is, hey, when we unleash and tap into airmen's potential by making sure that we're providing some guidelines, staying within the lanes to make it acceptable, but then accelerating with that adoption rate. I love what Major Moynihan said about the digital literacy rate, and I know that from the CIO's perspective, and from the vice chief and the chief, that is a high imperative. And so we'll get along enough with the platitudes. Got to go through some of this just so we can move on. Again, this is kind of where we came through. I won't go so fast. Again, we always start out pretty good. Everybody's very excited at the beginning, like, hey, I'm definitely going to do it this time. And then we kind of whittle that down because we understand, like, a lot of times is even though your work center or your organization might want to embrace automation, you're still burdened by the tasks at hand. And so there's a team of folks that is working around the clock to make sure this is ready to go for you. But there's still some challenges that we need to work through. And so the Herculean effort of AFPC, SAF-FM, AFSOC, and headquarters CCC pioneering just to make sure that those capabilities are ready for when people come on board is really a testament to how this ecosystem's responding. And we're able to kind of go through this kind of a campaign in a guided way to help you kind of figure out where you fit in, because we know sometimes you might have to off ramp. It's not a good time right now, or hey, I got to a place, but then I have to take leave, or I have this other priority. That's okay. We expect a certain level of attrition, and that's all about trying to adapt to where your learning style is. And so this is no different. Which is a little different is we had 3 skill groups. Skill group 1 was leave me alone, I'm doing it by myself. Skill group 2 is like, hey, I need some more hands-on, let's guide through this process. Skill group 3 is have a good idea, give me a mentor, back off. And those skill groups ended up being very productive for us. We had the mentoring sessions, which are very good, especially in the different skill groups, when we did guided and when we did advanced ask me anythings. Those one-on-one sessions ended up being really powerful. We got into those prototypes being due, and then we had to give the judges some time to view them. And so we're there now. We've got 4 key winners, and this is kind of how it started. This is the original timeline, and we kind of slipped those couple dates at the backside of this, and then just like what you signed up for Challenge 3, there's a Challenge 4 coming, and it'll be through the PMO there, PEO Bess, and Melinda Moynihan, Major Moynihan, guiding you through kind of what the campaign looks like. Well, and here's what you're all here for. This is the recognition. Again, a lot of you are doing this because you want to upskill and you want the process to go away, but then there's also kind of a recognition for it. It's not very easy to kind of commit to doing this over time. You see by the attrition rate. So we're going to have a team category, an ops category, business category, and the grand champion to recognize. And then we'll figure out, what does all that mean besides getting one of these amazing belts with your name logoed onto it, and so you can wear it around the office. I'm pretty sure AFI 21116 will allow that, but I'm not in the Air Force, so don't quote me on that. Here's kind of the demographics, and I'll send this out to you as you're building kind of your EPR, OPR, or just for your general awareness. We track these just to make sure that they're hitting the target. And we just want to make sure that we're comprehensively we understand what the landscape looks like, because maybe there's a time and a place where there's people aren't very excited about citizen developer from an automation perspective. We're just not seeing that yet. And that's why we've scheduled Wingman Challenge 4. And here are the judges. I know I've missed a couple of judges, but I will tell you that the judges are very important. The senior leaders, I know that even up to the vice chief and the secretary of the Air Force, they all know what you guys are doing. And maybe Major Moynihan can allude to that at the backside of this, but the people at very high places are aware of what you're doing. And in order for us to make this digestible for senior leaders, we've got to have our judges here to put things into context and make sure there are things around that. We couldn't do it without them. There's a bunch of pioneers on this list, people who have been there and done that before, and people who are making a way for the Air Force. Couldn't do it without CCC, couldn't do it without AFBC and FISO. And so just want to recognize you all for taking your time to review these submissions. Okay, here we go, runners up. Okay, this was a hard one. Atari was, I think if Atari had a little bit more time on the business case, this would have been a slam dunk. But it really showed kind of the business value of the training interface and getting that STTS reports out. The team did a really good job of being cohesive and working with the developer mentor, and it really did, got from 14 hours to 90 seconds and no errors, right? So Team Atari, they're taking it to the next level anyway. They're saying, hey, we're making automation part of what we're doing, and we're happy to partner with them. A big shout out goes to the 24 SAL STTS team and Atari. Love what you're doing and can't wait to see what you're doing next. Okay, second runner-up, or also another runner-up, is one of my favorites, and I scored this higher, but I don't count, is the SIPR SEA token bot done by Staff Sergeant Rhodes from Joint Base Charleston. Again, he took a really laborious process of kind of in-checking to get your SIPR token, and that taking a way too long of a time. He streamlined it, used some tools to be able to get it down to a lot, from 20 minutes to 2 minutes. Think about that. You show up for your SEA appointment, instead of it being 20 something minutes, it's 2 minutes. Think about that. You could actually have lunch. So really proud of what Sergeant Rhodes has been able to do at Joint Base Charleston. Other thing is he's committed for Wingman Challenge 4 to be a local a mentor there, like on-site coach, and for Joint Base Charleston, which is basically going to level up that whole base. Just been there, done that. So very proud of Sergeant Rhodes and the Joint Base Charleston team, SCA bot. Okay, so here we go. The best team robot goes to Warbot, and that's Sergeant Haversbeck. Sergeant Haversbeck is a animal. He looked at, he's already been doing RPA and really working through different agencies there at Fort Sam Houston to kind of meet them where they're at and pull through automation on what's going to be meaningful to them. And he took a process where I think we all seen it, and we worked this in group 2 with everybody. And gave everybody the ability to replicate this. And this was the Warbot. And again, taking some inputs and presenting it in a digestible format to be able to present to senior leadership. And then more importantly, to be able to kind of take that and make sure we do recognition and whatnot on the backside. Sergeant Haversberg, if you would come off mute, just want to make sure, say, hey, thanks for this. You won the team category. Anything you have to say as far as your experience coding this automation and where it goes from here? Kind of did that to you cold. So if you can't get off mute, I completely understand that. Okay, we'll go on from there. If you want to type something in the chat, we can also go from there. So making sure that I'm still a good hot mic here. Did everybody see that Sergeant Haversbeck won for and team won for Warbot? Somebody come off and tell me yes.
Loud and clear, Bill. And he made a comment that he's in his lab, so he can't make a verbal comment. So hopefully he can chat in the box there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Major Moynihan. And, I should have known that, Sergeant Haversberg, because we've had a couple of times that we had to do that together. Okay, team category. Again, this is something that we're going to hope to publish onto Orchestrator to give everybody the opportunity to kind of take this in and see if that it'll be useful to your organization. Okay, the best ops bot. This went to the 35MXG. This is the part bot. If you've ever, so I grew up as a maintainer. I was a 2E back in my day, and I had to go into all these systems and do all this junk, and it was horrible then when it was a green screen, and it doesn't look like the application has made it any better. So Sergeant Sangster and Sergeant Young from the 35th decided that a bot can do this and they don't have to bash their head against the wall. They built an awesome prototype and was able to take 820 steps there and then crush it down to be able to save about 7,000 minutes annually, right? And that's just for one base. And really what I like about this team is they were able to kind of, from a subject matter expertise, start from where kind of RPA makes its bread and butter, start from the user interface out, right? And then back in and produce a result. And this will keep on getting better and better and better because the people who know the process the best and understand the outcome the best are the ones that are driving the automation. I don't know if Sergeant Sangster or anybody from the 35th is on. Anybody from that team on? I know I think you guys are in PACAF, right? So it might be a little early for you or whatnot. So I'll make sure, good thumbs up for you guys. Appreciate what you've done, and you'll get this recording, and you'll get one of your belts to wear around the shop. I'm sure maintainers would love that. Okay, best business robot. This one has been a labor of love, I think, for everybody involved. Pure kind of synergy across the space. Really, Sherlock and is a cross-functional team. Had Mr. Roth, who is kind of a veteran from Challenge 2, and Captain Naylor and Mr. Taft, all working together from different parts and pieces to produce the result. And again, working with wide area workflow to get these invoice logs and get them to a place where it is 100% auditability and using the most up-to-date information at a relatively low cost. So fulfilling a requirement that was going unfulfilled for the most part and being able to do that with an automation and be able to adapt from there. So anybody from the Sherlock team want to kind of chime in and say anything about your experience and then how awesome this belt is, or would you rather not?
Thanks, Bill. It's Captain Naylor. I'll just say thank you to the entire UiPath team for giving us so much advice and guidance along the way. I know, at least for myself, I was coming in pretty cold. And so being able to spin up quickly and to be able to produce anything was pretty impressive. So I don't know about everyone else, but I'm very excited for the next challenge to see where we can continue taking this spot.
Awesome. Mr. Roth, you want to say anything? You're kind of the veteran.
Yeah, I know for me, this was really a great experience, kind of learning from the first challenge and taking what I had applied and again, applying it on the third challenge. That was great. Again, Captain Naylor is a RPA rock star. She did a fantastic job. I think, again, picking everything up and kind of taking the lead for our team. So again, thank you to her for all her great work.
Awesome team. And this one, I think, has the eye of multiple people especially in the a lot of this stuff tends to bubble up around program offices, especially since there's a lot of visibility on closing timelines, rightfully so, and there's just a lot of requirements. So you guys just hit the use case out of the park, and then in a short amount of time produce the result. We're going to partner with you to make sure that this has impact well beyond your team. So congratulations, good job, guys. Okay. And here is, without further ado, the best bot is the TJO bot. And I'm not sure we have anybody from SAF AAR on, and I hope we do. But I will tell you that this has been a combined effort with a team that really is laser focused on a big pain point in the Air Force, which is, especially on the civilian hiring side, is closing that gap from being able to, have your resume reconciled and get selected by the hiring official to getting that tentative job offer, so you can plan on onboarding into the Air Force. A lot of times, the big Air Force and the civilian corps was losing candidates even after they were selected because of the delay and being able to onboard and get people into the system. So this was a combined effort with the AAR team, again, working through with our subject matter expert and RP ASMEs and the folks from the network here to be able to produce a result that shows an effect. And not only did they do this, but they solved to be able to show how the bot can exist today in an attended fashion, but also really took it to the next level to say, hey, and if we can do this right, they built it in such a way that it can eventually be an unattended automation. Again, at every step of the process, you can see when you kind of start with the end in mind, when you start with your process definition document, you really kind of ideate from a business process standpoint and work through with the developer team how much strides you can make towards not only getting that initial impact, right, but the end state, the visible end state impact, to allow your leadership to say, yep, I see where you're going there. Let's invest more. Let's do more. Or, hey, actually, let's combine this with this other effort, and it'll get us to our end faster. So kudos to the SAF AAR team. And they were able to, potentially save, 1,700 man hours, but even more is really driving down that time to get that tentative job offer to a candidate. Anybody from the SAF AA team on the line like to say anything? No? Well, you'll see this recording and I'll make sure you guys get that. Okay, so now where do we go from here? I mean, lots of great lots of great awards, lots of great energy, and a lot of times it's like, hey, all right, we did it. Now what? All right, you'll definitely get this belt. It'll have your name and your category and your robot name on there, and it'll be amazing. And you'll get to wear it in front of all your friends. It's going to be great. But what do we do next? Apart from, hey, get connected to Major Moynihan and Mr. Matt Roberts and team, that is an imperative, right? Making sure that you're connected to the RBA community to make sure that they know where you are as a citizen developer, your interests are, your use cases, and then also being able to make sure that, hey, they might have an automation close to done that you can adopt for your use case, right? And so very important to get connected. Start with the COE team. Then if you're sure you want some more UiPath licenses, the Cloud One team is working those, and so you can request from there. Good to reach out there. But really, the next step is everybody's getting involved, and so tentatively we're looking at the Space Force effort. So if you're in Guardian and you're looking at getting ready, tentatively we have 9 to 13 August. There'll be an event for you to show up in person in Colorado Springs. Again, this is kind of a little bit, not ready for prime time, but I want to make sure that this group knew that, there'll be some messaging coming out about participating in a larger Space Force event. Okay, finally, Rise of the Wingman Challenge for A New Hope. We've ratcheted this down pretty good now. what I really like to tell you is as we go on into a location like Joint Base Charleston, and we're able to kind of work in group settings together, the rate of engagement and ideation increases exponentially. And that has to do with everything from crosstalk to reduced amount of distractions to pure like accountability, like, oh, I'm in this place and I better do something. Oh, cool. We're able to do something. What we're trying to do is make sure we have a hybrid of and building all the good parts into the campaign and thinning out all the bad parts. Right. And so what we noticed is we give you some ideation training, some design thinking training up front to make sure you kind of understand, begin with the end in mind. Then we give you some RPA training, which is good, back to back, allow some little time there, but then do some in-person training. And we'll be doing some in-person training at AFITC this year. That's a conference down, the IT conference down in Montgomery. And we'll be doing some, no kidding, in-place sessions there. So if you are like, hey, we're a drive away, it'd be good to get some hands-on. Love to see you down at AFITC in Montgomery. And then we'll go back into those skill groups and then whittle down, and then we'll have another competition award show in November, before Thanksgiving. So what, right? So what are we doing with all of this, right? And I'm about to kick it back over to Major Moynihan to close us down if she's still around, hopefully.
Oh, I'm still.
But really, what's happening is we're going next level here. You have all pioneered from Wingman Challenge 1 to Wingman Challenge 3 to get this capability in a state where the Air Force can start to understand where the value is, and being able to make sure that it has a collaboration space, it has the ability to your organization to test automations that are already published through the orchestrator, and be able to make sure that you're taking the next steps there, and then eventually get into a place where TJO did, where there are digital workers doing unattended automations on your behalf. So lots of exciting things coming down, but it really is about our journey together, the Air Force's journey together with low code in general, not just UiPath, not just RPA, but the Air Force really taking upskilling and low code capabilities and making sure that they're using them to save airmen's time. So Melinda, I just want to hand it back over to you, saying thanks for all your support and helping us help airmen, and then just to you for closing comments, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. And can you hear me okay? I always have to check because I'm in a weird room. Okay. To go back to the chat as well, and there was a lot of thanks, right, to Bill and the UiPath team. So we get to do this program because we have their support. And so thank you, Bill, too, and your team for being there for us and through this journey. It's been a wild ride and it's not over yet. And Bill alluded to earlier for me to touch on, the Center of Excellence concept. We see the value in RPA. We see the value in what you as airmen on the ground are coming up with at all levels of leadership, right? And so part of the COE effort is we stood up step 1 is a Mill Suite page, right? It's pretty basic. But if you haven't joined it, I would, because although it is basic, it has a little library of what's in production today from SAF-FM, AFPC, and anyone else who's given me things to post there. And it also has links to all of our Digital Wingman Challenge, previous automation. So that would be a good thing for you to reference as you move forward to future competitions. And then also gives you ideas of who to link up with if you haven't already seen the list for your own particular projects. But as Bill said, this is important. It is on the CSAF's radar. And Dr. Besselman and Matt Roberts they're in charge right now, stand up this Air Force RPA COE, right? Carlos Colon, Mike Green, myself, we're a huge part of it as well. But I guess it's so important that funding has been awarded to help that cause. So I want to share that with you to let you know that RPA is not going anywhere. It's growing. We're going to test out Orchestrator finally. As Bill said, pick some bots, put it on there, see how we can scale. So we're just getting started. So how exciting that you're part of this journey with us, and hopefully you'll continue the journey, this wild ride of uncertainty. And as we figured out together what it looks like, I think that's the fun in what we're doing, right? Is we get to create our own path, if you will, and figure out what's next for us as the Air Force and how we can share with the DoD wide. So again, thank you for being here, for completing this journey, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. So I'll just pass it back over to you, Bill, in case I missed anything, or if there's anything else you want me to touch on.
No, ma'am, that was perfect. And, congratulations in your new role. And I'm sure that, the energy that is in the RPA area will be a catalyst to help, the digital transformation effort all the way through the building. So happy to be a part. There's a small part of what you're doing up there at the Pentagon. Final thing here is what I'll need some housekeeping is like, thanks. Hey, we're still rolling this, and really the body of work that you are all putting together, your time, energy, and effort, and your sweat equity to put into getting these things done. Again, it's not trivial. We have a high attrition rate, and some of that's by design, because you can't just like give everybody the keys to the kingdom and be like, go ahead, run with scissors, right? Definitely need to have some goggles. Definitely need to have an outcome in mind, so we can generate the value that the Air Force expects out of taking you away from some of your primary dual responsibilities. Last thing I'll say here is thanks again. You'll see a lot more correspondence coming out, strategic comms coming out about the Space Force effort. You'll see a Wingman Challenge 4 come out. Again, we'll go through the end of summer into the fall. We'll see you at AFITC if you want to do some hands-on training. Hit me up with email on that front if you want to know more about that. Last thing is, for you winners, if you want me to get you your belt with your name on it, I'll need you to email me your address or your unit address, or whatever it is that you place where you want a belt to show up. Email that to me, and I'll make sure to get it there. And we'll do it that way. And then I'll expect at